morning, everyone. My name is Kurtis Carter. I'm the OnDemand Solutions Manager for Bramisol. My responsibilities include pre-sales engagements with prospective customers. Also, I'm responsible for the delivery of the software, the implementation, as well as development. We have a development team to fill in any gaps, shall there be any with the software. Today, I'm going to present the analytics in SAP Business ByDesign, which are included with all of the modules that come with Business ByDesign. So the agenda for today is to briefly talk about some of the solution benefits that Business ByDesign offers. Then we'll dive into the analytics demonstration and then close up with questions and answers. What is Business ByDesign? It is an on-demand solution delivered through the internet with your Internet Explorer. So really all you need is a connection to the internet, and SAP takes care of all of the heavy lifting, basically leasing enterprise class software. So you get all the benefits that some of the bigger companies get in a solution that's packaged for the small and mid-size market. It is a comprehensive solution, which means you can run your entire business on the solution. Look down in the lower right corner, you'll see all the different areas that the solution covers. Financials are the heart of the solution. Every single area pretty much touches financials, creating automatic journal entry vouchers and other transactions to establish that integrated solution. There's human resources. It's really lean human resources, namely you can cover all your employees and some information related to them, and then deliver information for things like payroll that can be executed outside of the system. Project management is the ability to track projects financially as well as the status of the projects. The key here is the integration with financials. All your costs and your revenues will roll into these projects so you can get project profitability with the integrated system with all these transactions happening real time as you post them to the project. Then we see we have the supplier relationship management. This is where all your purchasing occurs. We can do advanced things like strategic purchasing, contracts for predetermined price agreements. Supply chain management is another area that will handle companies that deal with manufacturing. So if you have a need to track manufacturing process throughout the life cycle of something that is manufactured in-house, then supply chain management will be an area of interest. We can also handle the case where you have outsourced manufacturing, another company who maintains inventory and keeps dollars outside of your house. So the system fully supports that outsourced manufacturing scenario. And then we have customer relationship management. This is integrated throughout the solution so that you can keep track of your customers through opportunities and leads, and also various marketing activities may generate those opportunities and leads. Then finally, we have solution extensions, and those are extensions made by partners like Bramisol in case there are areas that aren't covered with the standard solution. And then notice on the very top, there's built-in analytics and mobility that span all of the modules. Now, that's a huge benefit because every single piece of data in any of these modules will be delivered to the analytics engine that I'll be showing you shortly. And then secondly, the mobility spans all of the different modules. So all that information can be brought up on one of your mobile devices, Microsoft Windows Mobile, Android, iPhone. I'll be showing something on the iPad a little bit later in the demo. Now, it is an adaptable solution, which means that functionality can be switched on and off as your business changes. It also means that we can deploy this very rapidly because of this switch work framework that we have that turns on and off the solution, the areas in the solution. I don't even like to call it modules because it's so integrated, and it's really like a switchboard. So as you grow, you can work that switchboard and adapt the solution to your needs as you grow. It is an insightful solution, and that's one area that we'll be concentrating on today. You can gain insight and get that understanding for your business through the analytics that span all the different areas of the solution. I want to place an emphasis on the real-time because the Analytics by Design uses a cutting-edge technology called in-memory columnar databases. That's built into the solution, which enables fast, real-time reporting without the need for a data warehouse or any complicated business intelligence. So things like dashboards and slicing and dicing through the data and drilling down all the way to the transaction are included with the analytics package in the solution, in the standard solution. It is an easy-to-use solution. Some time ago, we realized that we needed to contract the best UI designers in the world, and so we actually borrowed the UI designer from Apple for a short amount of time. You'll see the user interface is laid out very well, so you never get lost in the solution. You'll always be able to find the information easily and quickly. And last but not least, all of this is included in one monthly subscription fee, one low-price subscription fee, making it affordable for the smaller and mid-sized market. So today in the demonstration, we'll be covering 4 different areas. The first is user-defined key performance indicators. That's powerful because any data in the system can be captured in the sense of a KPI, namely setting a threshold and pushing an alert to a user. These alerts can even be pushed through email so that you don't have to go into the system and pull the information. You can be alerted if something that you defined reaches a critical threshold. We'll be taking a look at the liquidity KPI in the system in the demo. So let's go ahead and go into the software for the first portion, the KPIs, and have a look. And so here is Business by Design. Notice that it's in Internet Explorer browser. Just click on a link, log in, and this is what you see. At the very top are what are called work centers. So my role right now is a CEO. I have just a very few work centers for the areas that I'm interested in, and my landing page, this home work center, contains all the information I'm most interested in, namely the profitability of the company. And I can see my net revenue of 11 million, and then the bottom line of 2.4, and that's last year. And we can do a comparison with this year with $7 million, a little bit lower. And then my bottom line is $1.9 million. Now I could drill down on this right away. We'll cover that a little bit later. What I want to look at is my alerts. So the information is pushed to me in my inbox. So here I have one alert. Again, this could be delivered through an email, but in this case, I'm going to click on the alert to bring up that alert and look at the definition of that alert within the system. There are other items like tasks or notifications, and I'll be showing you those a little bit later in the system. You can push information from your area of work to another person's area of work. Before I drill in there, I want to mention that we have the ability to capture all of these KPIs and all the reports in one area. So if you don't want to be alerted, you can look at all the KPIs you defined, in this case liquidity, and all of your most important reports. So there is an area that all of them are organized in one place to make it easier for you to look at all of your KPIs. But in this case, let's go ahead and just look at the one that's been pushed to me, go to my inbox, and I see that I have a KPI evaluation that's become critical. And so drilling down into that KPI shows me the criteria, namely when the liquidity is lower than 100,000, raise a red flag. In this case, we're way below. We've got a negative value of negative 2.4 million, so something big has happened. What we can do is open up a detailed analysis of this and look at what's comprising of that 3.4 million or 3.9 million. There could be a large number of purchase orders that have hit or that are planned to hit in the next 4 weeks that are bringing that number so low. And we may want to get on the phone or get my staff to make a cash infusion right away to the bank. So what I'm going to do is send a task to my team. So I may send a task to my purchasing manager right away, or maybe somebody in my financial department, maybe a controller. And you just select that person right here, in this case Peter, and then it'll contain the information, namely the KPI that has reached a critical level. That way you can distribute the work. You don't have to get all the information yourself. You can pass this along through the built-in workflow in the system. I mentioned that there are user-defined KPIs. So I'm going to go to the area that I just showed you previously, where all the KPIs are defined and contained in one place. Here they're listed next to some of my favorite reports, but I'm going to have a look, for sake of demonstration, I'm going to have a look at the liquidity KPI. I see some overview here about the deviation like I saw earlier. It's way below the 200,000. So I'm going to look at the actual definition of the KPI. Now this is very much like creating a new KPI. You select a dimension, which is basically a field on a report, any report, any field. You can then select a field in that report. In this case, it's the value in 4 weeks that we're interested in. So we select that field and set a condition. When it's higher than 200,000, that's the normal condition. Now, the critical threshold is when it's lower than 100,000. So here's where all the definitions are created, and we could, change those as we wish as we move forward with our business. We see we have a couple other KPIs. You can define as many as you'd like to get all the alerts that you need so that you don't have to, again, dig into the system for the data. So we showed the user-defined KPIs, and those allow you to quickly identify those exceptions instead of wasting all that time poking around the system and looking for exceptions. Now, the second piece out of the 4 we're going to discuss today are dashboards. You've got a quick glimpse at some of them by the nature of the screens I set up when logging into the system. And that allows you to easily consume this highly summarized information that's coming from all kinds of different reports, placing that in one place in the system, one screen, so that you can make your decisions without looking at those 3 or 4 different reports. Now, if we go back to the software, you'll see that the first view of this work center, the executive summary view, actually shows a pretty good dashboard that I've laid out for myself. I've got my profit overview by key figure. Below the KPIs and my favorite reports that I've defined. And you can mouse over and take a look at the actual numbers. Get a feel for all the different costs, revenue, and gross profit, and then bottom line for each of these different product categories. We then have our AP and AR. So we can see who we've been most delinquent on, say Electronic Parts International. And as a CEO, I say, what, that's no problem because I'm unhappy with the quality of the goods I've been receiving with them. There's a reason why we haven't paid up there. No problem. Silverstar, however, our customer, has over $500,000. Now that's a shock to me. So right away, I want to take some action here and get somebody to look at that right away. I may even want to drill down to that data, which we can do from this screen. Then we have the liquidity trend. We see that we've gone way south, just like the KPI has mentioned, in the first step of the demonstration. So what we're going to do is go ahead and look into Silverstar. And I want to look at the invoices. I want to see what's going on here. What comprises of that $590 million or $590,000, that $500,000 that is outstanding payments. Now we get a list of all of the invoices, and we see, the values for all of them. I may look at this $147,000 invoice and may say, gosh, what's going on here? And I can go into further details if I wanted to and drill down to all the different open items, all different items on the invoice to see, what that was. So likewise, we can drill down on profit over by key figure right from the dashboard. We've got boiler, heaters, assemblies, and we can drill down there as well. I'll be showing that a little bit more in detail in the next portion of the demo. So we see we can have this highly summarized information, and we can treat these dashboards as a launching pad to analyze the data and then drill down and slice it all the way down to the transaction level, which I'll be showing you next. And so next is that drill down and slice and dice, where we're going to provide those detailed explanations. And so the thought process here as a CEO is log into the system, look at the KPIs, and that's going to alert me of anything. So I may be alerted something different, like my bottom line. And that may cause me to look at a few dashboards showing my bottom line. I may look at bottom line by product category. And then once I notice an area, product category that's performing less than I expected, I may drill down from there and get that detailed explanation based on that alert and that dashboard that I looked at because of that alert. So let's have a look. We've got the profit overview split by product category. And I might say, you know what? My services are well below the revenue. No wonder I'm not hitting the mark. Let's have a look. Let's drill down to $350,000. Maybe there's an invoice that wasn't coded right. Maybe it was a mistake. Or maybe we just really did bill that many hours below the target that I thought we were going to be billing. Okay, so now I've got that $351,000. We see we've got the same information on the dashboard right here. We've got the revenue, and we've got the GP, the cost, which is minus the effort, the labor from the consultants. And then here's our bottom line of $282. So what we're going to do is have a look by the different departments. So which department, which area in our company are we below the mark on services? So let's just go ahead and, instead of dragging it, we're just going to move it up there, moving it up to the rows. And I'm going to organize it correctly so I get my numbers how I want them, namely split by the different profit centers. And I see that it's only the sales heating group. So it's really only one area that's done services. That may be an alert right away. I may have a whole other division of the company that's supposed to have services that's not even here. But I see that that's not the answer to my problem, right? I've listed it out by the different profit centers, all this service revenue. So what I'm going to do is drill down on this. So now that $351 million is listed by the product category. It's only showing the services because that's what I've drilled down on. If I had selected from overall profitability, it would have shown all the product categories, but this is the one I'm interested in. So now we've kind of gone back and forth. We're not really getting what we need. We need to go down to the transaction level detail. So what I'm going to do is drag some very granular information on here. First, I'll put the customer on here. Okay. Then I'll put the invoice on here. Okay, now I see all the invoices, all these different areas. And I might even want to put the date on there. So with all this information, you should be able to look at very granular level information. Okay, now I remember that invoice from July. $10,000? No way. That was supposed to be $100,000. Let's have a look. Let's go down to the transaction level detail here, and let's just view the invoice. So this is one of the few systems that I'm aware of that you can actually go from the reporting engine into your transactional engine to analyze the information at this detailed level. And I see that this workshop, it was simply a coding mistake. You know, this workshop was supposed to be a $40,000 workshop. You know, 2 of them. You know, we did 2-week-long workshops here. So this is grossly off. So what I might want to do now is go ahead and send this as a task. Just have somebody take care of this invoice, cancel it, redo it. Simple as that. We found the problem, which caused us to be, up to $80,000 below the mark on our services. So we've shown a case where we might have identified an exception with the KPI, namely our bottom line was lower than expected. We looked at a dashboard split by all the different types of services we offer, and we realized it was a consulting service that we need to look at. And what we did is we tried drilling down on that, didn't really see any exception there, so we went down to the transaction level detail. And we actually opened up the invoice and saw that it was miscoded. Somebody simply made a mistake. They forgot a zero. So now we can dish that out, provide that detailed explanation, namely the invoice itself, to whoever needs to fix that problem. Now, the last part of this demonstration we're going to show is mobility. We've got the ability to look at all the information I've shown you on an iPad, for example. So when you're on the road, say you're on the way to a customer, you want to take a look at their accounts receivable before you go in there and hopefully get them to pay up. We can do that now. You don't have to be at your desktop. Okay. So what I'm going to do is show you a tool that we have on the iPad. And I've just got 4 of my favorite dashboards up here. I've got my AR aging, which is the one that I'm going to be drilling down into because I'm on the way to a customer and I want to take a look at that customer's outstanding invoices. Got also AP aging, profitability trends, and opportunities. So let's have a look at the profitability. Now, this is interesting to me because it's a trend report. I see right away that something happened in May. We see a dip in May, and I want to figure out what's going on here. We can look at the numbers if we want for May, but as you can see right away, it's a lot easier to look at the trending report than it is these numbers to identify which month is really the problem. And we can see that May really is the lowest here, 166,000, but you get it much faster. You consume that information much more quickly in this format, showing the trending graphs. So what we want to do is we want to mark this up. Okay, I'm going to circle the area and add a note. Please look into the gross profit for May. And then what we're going to do is we're going to send this email, put a little voice note on there so that whoever gets it has a good explanation of what they're looking at. Please look at the gross profit for May. It's way below the projections. So now we can send that to the person responsible. In this case, we're going to send it to Courtney, colleague. Now she can have a look at the gross profit. Okay, so back to our dashboards here. We've got opportunities. We can look at all the different sales and all the different dollars caught up in each stage of the sale. Again, I can look at the numbers here. I see I've got $1 million in quotation. That's lower than expected, so I may want to get on the phone to somebody as I'm traveling around because I've been able to look at that with an iPad while I'm on the road. And last, the scenario of on my way to a customer and looking at the accounts receivable. So I'm about to see Silver Star, hoping to close some more business with them. But I look at my dashboard and I realize, geez, they're over $500,000. As you can see, this is the $560,000. This is the same number you just saw in the desktop. It's the same information, and you're hitting it real time. This is not a batch job or anything. It's somebody posts an invoice, it'll show up on your iPad while you're on the road. So now I know. Now I know that when I go in there, I may be a little more hesitant to close the deals with them. I may want to be more interested in collecting payment since my commission is tied to them paying up. So I have that information in my hands, and I might change the whole agenda of the meeting because of that. So that's the power of having information at your fingertips while you're on the road. So we've shown mobile dashboards as the last component of this analytics demonstration. And we've got this full suite of tools to deal with exceptions and anything that may arise, whether you're at your desktop or whether you're on the road. So KPIs, pushing those alerts to you. The example we gave was the liquidity forecast, and we dealt with that by pushing that information to perhaps our controller or somebody that can infuse some cash into our bank account so we don't have a bunch of high dollar expensive last-minute bank loans. We've got desktop dashboards allowing us to easily consume that highly summarized information. That may be something we look at based on a KPI. For example, if our bottom line is below a certain number, we'll look at the dashboard. Then these dashboards may point out other exceptions or trends, and we can drill down on those to provide those detailed explanations. For example, we found an invoice for the area in services because it was way below projections, and it was just a simple typo. They forgot a zero. That was an $80,000 mistake as far as our books are concerned. So we were able to provide an explanation quickly so somebody could deal with it. And last but not least, we showed mobile dashboards, looking at our trending profitability, sending that off to somebody by email, marking it up so that they know what to look for, and then they can drill down and slice and dice using their own desktop tools. We also looked at some opportunities and AR aging. We noticed that SilverStar was way beyond where we thought they were as far as outstanding items. And so we changed the whole agenda of the meeting to collect those items rather than try to close more business. And that concludes the demonstration of SAP Business ByDesign Analytics. If you have any other questions, please contact me, or you can go to www.sme.sap.com for more information on the SAP Business ByDesign solution. Thank you.